Oh man, the bug has bit me hard this week. I don't know if many of you are like me, but I'll constantly rotate through a few different titles and drive one for a little bit and then get interested in a different type of car and go explore some other sims and then come back to the first one again. And Grand Prix Legends has been on my perennial coming back to list. But I don't know what it was. A couple of weeks ago, I just got the urge to really dive into Grand Prix Legends and have nonstop been playing it and a bunch of different things, and I wanted to explore some of the odd corners of racing and content that exists in Grand Prix Legends. I think always focused on the Formula 1, Formula 2, sports car stuff, all of the great things from the 1960s that Grand Prix Legends has to offer, but there are quite a lot of car sets and different work done by folks over the years, which includes some of the less commonly known series of the time. And so today we're going to go Formula 5000 racing. Formula 5000 racing appeared around 1968 and replaced a lot of the Formula Libre or open formula competitions of the time. Its specifications weren't so different from Formula 1 at the time. Light, Grand Prix style cars, often hand-me-downs or alternate-made chassis, paired with high-powered up to 5-liter V8 engines, outputting sometimes 400-500 horsepower. Formula 5000 was seen as a way to organize all of the different types of road racing occurring around the whole world, and in the United States, the SCCA organized the Formula A Championship for Formula 5000 cars starting in 1968. There's an excellent documentary-style movie starring none other than Grand Prix's James Garner as he became really interested in actual racing in the late 60s and started his own Formula 5000 team for 1969. The documentary follows him through the season of different testing, and he didn't actually drive the car during the races, but follows him as he goes to the track. And this series seemed absolutely crazy at the time. The races were flat out filled with many up-and-coming or younger drivers around a myriad of circuits, many of which were much more dangerous than the Formula 1 circuits were of the day. My knowledge of Formula 5000 racing really centers around the Long Beach Grand Prix, and that having been a Formula 5000 race for a few years before Formula 1 came in and later IndyCar Champ Car. But throughout the 1960s and 70s, Formula 5000 was incredibly popular as somewhat of a B series for the Formula racing scene. So user Argyle1968 over at the Sim Racing Mirror Zone forums for Grand Prix Legends is somewhat of a buff on Formula 5000 racing from the time and has produced a whole slew of car sets and car packs for all of the different series that took place throughout the world. Remember, there were European Formula 5000 and Australian Formula 5000 and South African Formula 5000, as well as the United States, and he's done just about a car set or two for all of them. All of these car sets are really a set of driver files and paint schemes for the 1969 Formula 1 mod, but the cars for 1969 Formula 1 and 1968, 1969, 1970 Formula 5000 really weren't so different, so it gives a great impression for what these cars would have been like and gives you something fun and a little bit different from the norm to do in Grand Prix Legends. To go along with these excellent car packs, Argyle1968 has actually reskinned, revamped, even built a few new tracks for Grand Prix Legends overall and really helped flesh out the potential racing options for these cars. A lot of the tracks, especially in the United States, actually exist from the Can-Am mod and the sports car mods to race these on. And since Formula 5000 cars really raced almost everywhere, you can take them to almost any track and it fits, maybe a little bit more than racing Formula 1 cars there. So I want to take these cars out and just do a quick race here at Lime Rock Park. This Lime Rock Park circuit was built for Grand Prix Legends way back in 2002, which is pretty old for Grand Prix Legends tracks. And it was actually built as a modern rendition of the circuit, but Lime Rock Park really hasn't changed much since the 1960s. And I thought this was a perfect place to showcase these cars. In James Garner's documentary, they actually followed the race here quite closely, and you get a lot of good views of the track. What Argyle1968 has been able to do to the track with the textures make it look absolutely awesome, and for me, being pretty close to Lime Rock Park and a track I'm familiar with, it's fun to race around in one of my most favorite sims. And quickly before we go out to do the race, I wanted to show off another mod that I've been using recently that I kind of missed back when it came out. This is the Head Movement V3 patch that's made by Lee200 for Grand Prix Legends, famous author of many excellent patches. The Head Movement V3 patch combines a bunch of different patches and add-ons for Grand Prix Legends that help enhance the view movement and cockpit movement in the sim overall. The older versions of the Head Movement patch did a lot of things to help the other drivers and your driver in replay mode and things turn their head and look a little more animated, which is very much appreciated. The Head Movement V3 patch incorporates some new physics adjustments to the head movement, as well as incorporating the glance modes and other things that exist. What it results in is that your head and your body move around a lot more as you're driving the cars. You have to remember, in 1960s Formula racing, some drivers weren't even strapped into the cars, depending on the year. A lot of them thought it'd be better to be thrown free of a car during a crash instead of being trapped in it because of fire and other things. And so over bumps, over turns, up and down hills, you'd be thrown about in the car. So increasing that type of movement is very important. I'll throw up a couple clips while I'm talking about this with the standard movement and then with the patch. I don't think it's extremely easy to see how much of a difference it makes. It's tunable. You can change the percentages of how much you move and how much you glance, but adds a lot to the sim. It's honestly one of those things that all of the newer sims have built in, and so now to have it in Grand Prix Legends just helps elevate the whole thing a little bit more and makes it feel that much more fresh. So with all that in mind, we'll get out here and do a race around Lime Rock Park. Just 11 laps, going to be a really speedy one. Fast and furious, I think what F5000 was all about. But 11 laps around the circuit. I'll be driving the Surtees TS5 along with David Hobbs, my fake teammate here. The cars themselves, again, they're based on the 1969 Formula 1 season, so the car is actually the Matra from that mod, skinned up and has some different physics. I think it's aligned up with the Ferrari slot. Gives a great impression of driving them. I've gone ahead actually and added a cockpit skim myself to make it look a little more accurate to driving the TS5, and that's available at the Sim Racing Mirror Zone as well. But all in all, it's a great package, something fun to do on an evening. So let's do this. Lime Rock Park in Formula 5000. Alright, so here we are on the grid, and just wings and wheels as far as I can see in front of me. This should be good. Flag is up. Down, we're underway. Bogging down on the line originally. Get it back up to gear, over revving. Up the gears now. Come down to Big Bend, first corner, third gear. Keep it on the inside, everybody fans out in front. Long right-hander, track narrows up on the exit. Keep it right on the inside now. Long left-hander, other direction. On the outside, I think I have a car to my left there making the pass through a little kink now. This will spit us out past a daring Marshall on the inside there. Rear end kicks out onto No Name straight then over some bumps. Down to third gear through the fast right-hander. Brings us uphill over a jump. Car gets very sideways there. Keep it in fourth for this kink at the top of the hill. Down into the final corner. Just watching for fireworks in front, but come to complete the first lap. Coming up the inside then. Lime Rock, such a quick lap, but it's such an action-packed track. It's awesome. Come down to the first corner. Down to third gear, locking up the right front. Just trying not to get into my competitors. So get a good exit here. You can slide around the outside. So turn into the inside here, so I have a little advantage. Not enough. We'll come into the kink and No Name. It's a sketchy place to go side by side, but able to do it. Right to the dirt on the outside. Over revving a bit up to fourth gear then. Just trying to hold on to the car really. Until things get spread out, it's absolutely intense, and I don't think things are going to get spread out in an 11-lap race. Come out of turn, the final turn, onto the front straightaway. Get past 9 laps to go. A couple cars running really wide through the first corner. Car on the inside on the grass. Right, that puts me to the left. Should have the better line here through the long left-hander. Tries to hang it out there, but not able to. Third gear. You can take that in fourth if you're on a good clean lap alone. It's very much like a short track for a spectator, especially if you sit on the hill after the first couple of corners. You could see a large majority of the race, and the cars are only gone for 35 seconds a lap. I come through on the inside of the 44. Took a very odd line into the first corner. So able to get around him. A little bit of a run here on the outside. I think it's Eddie White's. It's a sports car racer in the 60s. Two in front side by side. This track gives a great impression of Lime Rock in the 60s. The James Garner documentary features Lime Rock pretty heavily for a pretty large segment of it. Come out of the final corner up the inside again. If anything, it's wide, maybe a little bit wide in spots, which is pretty par for the course with GPL tracks, but otherwise feels pretty authentic and a lot of fun. Such a fun track to race on, especially with these kind of cars. These two in front, titanic battle. Switching back and forth right in front of me. I'll do my best not to make contact with them. All right, there we go. Get a good exit there, but there's just nowhere to pass on No Name Straight. On the inside, I think we're side by side here. Should have a better run down the hill into the final corner. There we go, slot in front of the 3. See that car in a ton of photos from the time. Should have a little slipstream here as we'll come to the line. So I think I'm up to P10, so in the top 10. Be great to pick up a couple more though. Oh, locking up the tires into the first corner. Luckily we have some extra paved runoff to the left, which definitely wasn't there in the 60s. But all's fair. So dueling with Eddie White's now. Kept it in 4th gear there. Should have a nice run up the hill. Once again, we'll go side by side through this corner. It's such a sketchy one. Very easy to tangle wheels. It's the first thing that would touch each other. A lot of oversteer there coming out of the final corner. Power sliding. Cross line. All right, getting the position from Eddie. We'll focus forward, see if I can get this gap down with something like 5 laps to go. Yeah, Argyle's done a great job on this because this track, 2002, is pretty early for Grand Prix Legends track mods. So this is one of the early ones. And Southpaw Racer just did a video on the what-if full version of this circuit with the mountain loop and everything that was planned but never actually built. And that version exists for Grand Prix Legends as well, so if you wanted to try out what races would have been like at the longer version of Lime Rock, you could. Right, we got a few cars here fanning out. See the red car there, double wings. It's not all the same model of car. We have a few different, I think 3 or 4 different actual cars in the mix. To plan the moves here, nice and carefully. I have to take a look at the pit board too next time by. Lose what lap you're on very quickly with how fast the laps are. Around the outside maybe. Nice and tidy there. You lose a lot of time and just can't kick the rear end out and expect, gets me onto the dirt. Didn't make contact, I don't think, but it was very close. There we go, come around the top of the hill. A nice exit again, just clipping the dirt, sends the car sideways up to 5th gear, so 3 laps to go, P9. Down to 3rd. 27 leaves the door open. The outside line, there he goes, falls in behind. chicken with that Marshall. Now behind this red car. Oh, he swings out wide. It's going to run me right to the grass as well. Getting all crossed up trying to watch the mirrors. Got to focus forward somewhat. This is somewhere it would be helpful to have a spotter. It really is like a short track NASCAR race rather than a Formula Grand Prix style race. We'll come to the line, just 2 more to go. Maybe we can get around a couple more of these cars. We got Sam Posey right in front, so I believe the real winner of the event. Of course, commentator for many years. Work our way around Posey. It's held up behind the red car, took a wide line. Just swing out wider before the final corner, try to get a better run coming out of it, but not too bad. Side by side with Posey, then we'll come to start the final lap. Work down towards Big Bend, try to break as late as I dare on the inside. Still need to keep it nice and close so we don't make contact. Posey hanging it out there. Oh, car gets very sideways. He slots in behind. All right. The long left-hander. Running it a little wide just to protect that inside line. Optimistically try to get around the cars in front. Posey looking to the inside. Got my one eye on him in the mirror and an eye on the 3 cars in front. Come over the top of the hill. Little red car swings out wide. All right, coming out of the final corner towards the line, you can see the checkered flag in the air. Up to 5th gear. Oh, I gotta make the pass. Love to see where I finished, but man, such an intense race. I've done, I don't know, 10 plus races around here with these cars over the past couple of weeks, and every single one is different. Got some of them where the cars get really spread out even within, 8 to 10 laps. Got others where they're extremely close, even tighter than what we saw here, where they all kind of race in a pack. It's fun how different it is each time, and you can do it across so many different circuits in Grand Prix Legends. It's a ton of fun. So there we have it. Bud Morley takes the win from John Cannon up front. Way up the road from where I was, but I think I started back in 17th position or so and got 6th place in the end. So I was able to eke out a points-paying finish if they award points in the same way Formula 1 did. So much fun racing these cars, and I know it's the 1969 F1 mod, but they're very similar to the F5000 cars from the time, and being able to race, more accurate feeling cars around some of these American circuits just for myself, with Lime Rock being one that's really close to me, but also all the other tracks in the US that don't quite fit with a Formula 1 car, at least historically. Opens up a lot of different opportunities. So it's a lot of fun, and I recommend trying it out, even with the normal 69 cars, or any cars for that matter. I think races at Lime Rock are always a ton of fun. The head movement patch makes this come all alive, and it's a permanent fixture now in my Grand Prix Legends installations. I can't imagine actually really running without it. Just feels so dead without it and static. I hope it helps make the videos feel more alive as well. So really into Grand Prix Legends right now. I don't know when this feeling's going to give up, but probably a lot more coming soon, as well as all the other stuff. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you did, and maybe I'll try out some of the other odd cars and things, or even take suggestions for that. But thanks for watching. I'll see you all again next time.